So, LeBron James back at it again, with the Twitter fingers, right? You know, everyone's talking about it. LeBron James tweeting out that police officer that saved the girl. That's in Columbus, Ohio, right? Short summary: two teenagers get into a fight. One has a knife, charges at the girl. Guys has given orders to, stop multiple times. She doesn't stop, and he saves the other girl's life at the expense of, having to use his firearm, right? That's the short summary. And people are, outraged of this issue. I mean, a lot of people are kind of outraged just to be outraged, right? Even though if you just take on the nuance and just take a look at the whole situation, right? There's nothing else that he could have done. If you say he could have used a taser or whatnot or something that's non-lethal, you're risking, the other person's, the person that was getting attacked, life. And if you're willing to take that bet, that's on you. And this guy, chose to save the other person's life, the person that was going to be a victim. LeBron James posts his picture up on Twitter, 50 million followers after the Chauvin verdict, and he's like, "Yo, you're next, right?" Straight up, in Mortal Kombat.
You will be next.
Yeah, when Shang Tsung got Liu Kang's brother, he's like, "Yo, you're next." And he deleted it, right? Because this situation was basically not the narrative that he thought it was made out to be, right? He thought it was gonna be another thing where he probably saw like a headline and he thought, oh, white cop kills, black teenager. And he's like, oh, I'm gonna be, shooting off the hip on the Twitters, right? Gets met with super massive backlash everywhere, right? Proceeds to delete the tweet. And then if you read this tweet again, right, he's like, oh, this is not about, this cop. This is about the system, right? Basically doubles down, right? He doesn't even apologize for being wrong. He just essentially doubles down, right? Which makes the situation even worse. Like, dude, LeBron James has always tried to perpetuate this, image of himself where he's like, I want to, do this and that for the greater good. Right? I mean, he's very protective of his, image. You never really see too much of, controversial takes from LeBron James, right? Everything is usually gonna be, the very popular choice of, certain things, certain trends. It'd be like, yeah, he'll speak on this. I mean, the last controversial take that of recently I thought was probably like the vaccine stuff. He's like, I'm not gonna give out my answer to the public. And then the previous controversial take is probably that China stuff, right? Where he was not informed. I mean, just the irony is like so palpable, right? The irony of him not being informed on this situation and then calling Daryl Morey uninformed about the situation with China and Hong Kong. Like, dude, like LeBron James is always, he says what he's being told to say on certain things. Most likely, I mean, LeBron James, like I said, he tries to perpetuate this image on popular takes of whatever he wants to, whatever's hip, I guess. I mean, does anyone not remember of him and that Malcolm X book, right? When he's literally holding these books, like everything is done for the cameras with LeBron James, right? Everything's done for a reason. Like, does anyone remember him like just bringing books and stuff to like playoffs? It's either like the playoffs or like the finals or something. Or you know how like the Godfather, he's like the book. Then you have like Malcolm X, and when someone asked him about, hey, like, so what did you like about the book? Like,
What's your biggest takeaway so far?
I kind of just started a couple days ago, but I've read and a lot of notes over the years. It's my first time actually reading this from start to finish. But just a very smart man, very smart man, and basically his words in the '60s.
this guy did not answer it in a with like him saying like, oh, I didn't read the book yet, but I believe in his message and all that stuff, right? He could have just said something like that, right? Because clearly he didn't read the book. Like he was just coming off of like generalizations, like Malcolm X was like a great man and all. Like he was kind of doing the stuttering of the like where someone actually doesn't prepare for like a test, like, and you just BSing your way through it. Like, I know the feeling because I've done it. Everyone has done it, and you can tell. So I'm like thinking, like, dude, this guy LeBron James is back at it again, and thinking about all this political stuff, right? The NBA ratings are still dropping, right? They're still dropping. I don't really see anyone talking about it when it comes to ESPN, Undisputed, or any of the networks that talk about basketball. No mention of the ratings. I mean, they try to pull up the excuse for saying that, oh, the NFL, baseball, hockey, all those like sports are like colliding against each other when it comes to scheduling, right? Now that they're back to like their regular scheduling stuff, the ratings are still going down. I mean, you're saying that, Adam Silver is saying that, hey, we're gonna get rid of the Black Lives Matter, messaging on the court, for next season. That's what you said last season. You said, oh, because we felt like it was a great time to stand with social justice, but we'll be focusing on something else next season, right? And in a sense, he was trying to basically say like, all right, dude, we know people hate this stuff and all the pushing the vote. We did our job. Now it's time to move on and try to save our our fan base, right? But it's still dipping, right? It's still dipping because they're still getting kind of political, but not as political as they were last season. And I mean, does no one see like the ripple effect that's gonna happen? Like, TV deals. I mean, sure, they're gonna keep on losing money and stuff, but the ratings go down, the TV deals, and the money, the market, and not the market cap, but just the overall cap for signings, money, sponsorships, all that stuff's gonna have to take a dip, and it obviously is gonna be aligned with the pandemic and whatnot, but still, like, how are you gonna like be able to recover the fan base? Because at the end of the day, right? I mean, these dudes are getting paid because of the fans, and all this political stuff. It's been pretty dividing. So that's how I see it, right? Like, dude, it might be time to just have the political stuff be moved aside and just focus on basketball, right? Because right now, if they're trying to use the excuse of the finals like ratings like being really low because of you already know like the Lakers are going to win against the Miami Heat, right? And now this season the potential finals matchup, it's gonna be the Lakers versus the Nets, right? Los Angeles versus New York, two big market teams. It is the NBA's wet dream to get New York versus Los Angeles, right? And that could be the case, this year. But we'll see how what happens with the ratings right there and then. But I don't even think LeBron James is gonna even get any backlash any further. They're just gonna bury this stuff. I mean, didn't Kevin Durant get like a $50K fine where he was just talking to Michael Rappaport, but it was during private, right? Like it was just him like just cursing him out, right? Basically saying he was threatening him. Like threatening him physically, right? I mean, you can make the argument that LeBron James was threatening the police officer, and by just having him be on the spotlight of 50 million followers. Because Michael Rappaport has like 1 million followers, and he had like kind of TV coverage of people like Kevin Durant. Like, oh, look at Kevin Durant. He shouldn't be telling people he's gonna meet him outside in this certain address. You shouldn't be calling him to suck some dick. Like, you shouldn't be doing that. And then you have LeBron James saying you're next, right? Like, hashtag accountability. Like, didn't LeBron James unpin that accountability tweet? It was something of that. Like LeBron James is not gonna get any backlash whatsoever. I don't think no reporter's gonna ask him, any follow up on his tweet, right? I don't, not that I've seen. Brian Windhorst ain't gonna ask him about that crap because he's gonna shut out of the LeBron James propaganda team, right? Like, no one's gonna ask him because the reporters know they will be banned from asking him questions further on. They're gonna leave it be. Dave McMenamin is not gonna ask him any questions. No other reporter. Rachel Nichols is not gonna ask him about this follow up, right? LeBron James PR team. Like, I'm just surprised LeBron James PR team did not let him know that, hey, this is the situation that happened, right? Here's your pre-written response. Because a lot of these dudes got PR teams, right? Maybe he needs a better PR team. Or maybe he just jumped the gun. Where he thought, oh man, like this is like the easiest, thing that I can respond to. Because I'm from the city. I mean, I'm from the state, I'm from Ohio. Like, this is something that's affecting me, so I can say something, right? And then boom, he gets it wrong. No, fine, NBA's Cabarrus is like, all right, this guy's the face of the league. We can't have any controversies with this, so shut it down. So all in all, LeBron James, he was wrong for that, dude. That was messed up, and he didn't even apologize. He just doubled down. So, that's probably how that just shows how it is for LeBron James in general, right? And, it's not his fault. Is he wasn't saying this. He was saying this like thing. Like, even his clarification didn't even make sense. I'm like, ugh, this guy. Come on, bro. You're playing for my team, man. Come on, you're not supposed to say that stuff. But he's King James. I guess he can do whatever he wants.